Hi everyone, welcome back to video 2 of our SQL series 0 to Pro. Today we'll be covering SQL basics. So we'll start with how to create tables. We will create up to 5 tables to ensure that you are familiar with the syntax. Then we will learn how to insert a single rows in a table, and we will also learn how to insert a multiple rows in one go in a table. And then we will learn how to basically update records or rows in a table, and how to basically update multiple records and rows in a table. And lastly, we will learn how to delete records from a table, entire data or a single rows from a table. And then we will learn how to use where function in SQL and what are the importance of where functions, and how to select specific rows using where functions. And at the end of this video, I'm going to basically give you some of the questions, like 15 to 20 questions, which you will be able to solve using this concept if you basically watch the video till the end. So before continue with the video, I would request you to pause the video for 1 or 2 minutes, download the file from the video descriptions. I have added all the tables, all the data and all the questions that is necessary for this video. So once you are done, then you can continue with the video. Also, I would request you to, if you have not watched the video 1, please go through the video 1, because in the video 1 I have shown you how to install PostgreSQL in your computer, in Windows or Mac, whatever the computer you're using, and how to basically install the tools that we will be using in this entire series, that is pgadmin 4. And I have also shown you how to create a database, drop a database, and how to create tables. So basically basics of the tools. So once you're done with the video 1, then you can continue with the video 2. So let's get started the video. So now I'm inside the pgadmin 4. So you can see the tools. I'm inside this pgadmin 4, and you can just open the same tool from your basically applications. And then we will go to this PostgreSQL server, and from the server we will first create a database. So this is the database, all the database are here, you can see. So we will create a new database for this series. So I will just right click on it and select create and select database. I have shown these things in the last video as well. Let me just show it again. So we will say a name called SQL 02 Pro. So this is the name. You can give any name, and you don't have to basically select anything. Then you will just need to click save. So once you click on save, a new database will be created in just few seconds. So let's just wait for that. Okay, now you can see a new database is created, this one. So I can just minimize rest of the things. Now new database is created. Now I can just click on this database, and I can click on this query tool on the left side top, this database icon that you see. And I will be basically connected to this database, and new SQL script will open in my screen. Now I can close the previous one. So now I'm inside this database, which is SQL02 Pro DB. That's the name I have given. Now how we can verify that you are inside this database? Basically by looking in this icon. You can see on the top there is a connections icon, and you can see the database name and the server name. So basically I'm inside this database. If I want to change this script to a different database, I can just click on it, and I can just click on new connections, and I can basically change the database from here to basically any other database if I want to connect. But I want to basically continue with the same database, like inside this one. So let's start the video with the command line. To enter a command line, you can just press the control and oblique sign in your keyboard, or you can just enter 2 dash like this way, and then enter a space. Then whatever you will be writing in this, whatever you will be writing, it is going to ignore by the SQL, because this will be considering as a command line. Okay, so I would say day2 or video 2, okay, of SQL series. Okay, so this is the comment line I'm basically giving. So now we will create 5 tables, starting with the employees table. Creating employees table. Okay, so I want to create a first table, which is creating employees table. This is the comment I'm giving. So this is just a comment I have given, creating employee table. So now I will create the employee table. So I would say to create a table, I'll need to say create. So this is the syntax. Whatever the SQL syntax, it would be basically highlighted in red colors if you're using the dark, if you're using dark version. So you need to say create table. Now create table, then you will have to basically give the table name. So I would say employees. So this is the name I'm giving. Now inside the parenthesis, you can define like how many columns you want and their data types. So let's see the column that we want. So first column that we want, that is employee ID. Employee ID. Okay, now I can just go ahead and make it in the next line to make it like more, basically look it more readable, I would say. So I would say employee ID. Now after every column that you basically give inside this parenthesis, you need to basically define a data types. Now if you do not know the data types, I have already covered this topic in the last sessions. So go ahead and watch the video 1. You will know what is the data type. So we will say this data type I want as an int. Now I can just give a comma. So that means whatever I will be entering now, that is going to be second column. So second, I need basically name. So I would say name, and the data type for the name is a text. So I would be saying varchar. Okay, now again I have covered this topic as well in the last sessions. Now this 25 means the name has to be under 25 character. Now I can just make it in the next line to just make it like more readable. Now this is the column 2. Now I can add some more column as well. I want to add department, so I would say department column, and I want the same data type, that's going to be varchar 25. Okay, now whatever the column you are entering after the first name, that is considered as a column, and that has to start with basically a text, not a number. I cannot give like 1. Okay, so it has to start with the text, and then after a space you basically define the data types of that column. Okay, now whatever the column you will be adding, you need to ensure that you are giving a comma to distinguish that this is the first column, this is the second column, this is the third column. You can enter in one line as well also, but you can enter in multi-line. That looks basically more readable and basically more organized, you know. So I can again say I need one more column, that is salary and hiring date. So I would need two more columns. So I would say salary I need. Okay, salary. So the data type I will be giving is decimal. Okay, now decimal, I would explain what is this decimal data type means. So this is the department column, then I'm adding one more column which is called salary, and the data type I'm giving, that is called decimal. So decimal 10 and 2, that means before a dot there would be maximum up to 10 numbers, and after the dot the 2 means basically there is only 2 placeholder. That means that there can be only 2 basically numbers. So let me just show you how. I can just give you some example. Let's say 55,050. Okay, so let's say 50,000 is the salary, so I can say like 45. So this 2 that you see, this is basically the placeholder. Like this decimal will contain only 2 basically after the dot. Okay, now before the dot there could be maximum 10 numbers, the salary figures. Okay, that's the column. Next column I want a hiring date, so I would say next column, and I would say hiring, or I can say DOJ. Okay, DOJ, hiring date. Okay, so I would say same, hire date. Okay, hire date. So this is the column I'm giving. Now this data type I want to give as a date. So date basically indicates that whatever I will be entering in this column, that has to be a date. Okay, now I can just go ahead and close this the brackets. So this is the query, I need to close it, so I would just close it here. Oops, I would just give a parenthesis. So now it's closed. So whatever I'm entering inside, these are the columns, and this will be creating a table by the name of employees. Okay, now I can just close it. Now if I just run this query, it's going to create the table. So now to run a query, you first select the query, and then you can just click on this play button, or you can see the shortcut that is coming for my computer. For your computer it could be F5 if you're using Windows, or if you're using Mac it could be different. But again, you can customize it by going into this settings, like preferences for Mac and settings for Windows. Now I'll just select it, and I will first run it from this play button. So once I run it, you see some message pops up which says create table, return query successfully done in 58 milliseconds. That means my table is created. So how can I verify it? So I can go to my database. This is my database, right? I'm inside this database. You can see I can say that this arrow I can click, and then I can go to this schema. So something called schemas, you can see, and then from the schema I can go to public, and from the public there is something called tables. So if I go to tables, I see there is a column, there is a new table that is called employees. Okay, now inside the tables there is something called columns. I can click on this arrow, it will show me all the columns that I have in the tables. Okay, now that is fine, one table is created. So let's just go ahead and kind of create some other tables as well also. So I have already kind of created that syntax, so I'll just copy paste the syntax. Give me a second. So let's say I want to create a second table by the name called products. So product table. Okay, I'm just saying creating. So this is just I'm giving a comment, creating product table. Okay, creating product table. So now I'll just go ahead and give the same syntax, create table, and the table name is products. Okay, products, I will give it as a product. Okay, now then I'll just give it parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis I'll basically keep the syntax. Okay, so this is going to be the product table. I'll just delete the things. Now all these files are available in the video descriptions. If you have not downloaded it, please pause the video and download the files so that we can continue with the learning. Okay, so now I'll just delete this primary. As of now I don't need it. Okay, so that seems to be perfect. Let me just organize the query a bit. Okay, so I'm just organizing it to make it more meaningful, so readable. So let's just see. So this is going to be my product table. So now you can see things are similar. You can see product, that I'm saying that's create table products, and I can show you this is a product ID. So data type is int, so it's going to be numbers. Int means 1 2 3 4 5 6, any whole number. Then product name I'm giving a varchar, category I'm giving a basically varchar price I'm giving a decimal, so same things like this way, and quantity I'm giving a int, that is going to be in stock. Now I can just run this query. Now I have run this query, you can see the query is returned successfully. Now I cannot see tables here. I can just right click on this tables and I can click on refresh, and now I will see both the tables. Let's just check. Now see, I have one more tables, so inside this table I will again have the same columns. Now just quickly let's create the other tables as well. Okay, so next table I want, that is going to be customers, creating customers table. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create customers table now. So now these comments are really useful when you are basically kind of using SQL, so that next time whenever you come to any code, you basically kind of remember whatever things you are going to do. So I would say create table for now. Again, I would just delete it. So it's going to be create tables, and the table names I'm just changing it to customers. So customers, and the columns remain same. I'll just organize it a bit. Okay, and I'll just organize it a bit. So in the customers table, I'm again selecting the same customer ID, customer name, email, phone number, and city. So these are the columns basically are there in the customers table. Now I can run it again by using this play button. So this table is also created. I can just go ahead and refresh it. So you can see the customers tables is also created. Okay, so that is fine. So now let's just go ahead and create the rest of the two tables. Now we are creating orders table. Now you can see the syntax is same. I'm saying create tables, the table name is orders, and I'm basically giving the columns that I want in the orders table. So that's going to be order ID, the data type is int. Now the second column is customer ID, data type is int, product ID, data type is int, order date, data type is date, and the quantity order, that is int. So int means basically whole number. Okay, now I can just run this query, and I have just used the shortcut now, shift and enter for my computer. It may be different for you, it could be F5. So by shortcut also I have created the table. Now I can just refresh it. I have the fourth table, which is basically orders. Now you can see orders table is there. Now we will create our last tables. So before creating last table, okay, let's learn something called primary key. Okay, so primary key is basically is a constraint in SQL. So it means that additional to your data type, so data type is int, you are basically defining some other conditions here. So if I say primary key, okay, now if I say primary key additions to the data type, so this primary key will ensure that whatever the data we're entering, okay, this transactions ID cannot be empty. So first conditions of primary key is that the column which is basically this one, which is transactions ID, okay, TID, I would say TID cannot be empty. So basically whenever you are inserting any data, we will see when we will insert data, we'll try to insert empty data, and you will see it will give some error if it is a primary key. But if it is not set as a primary key, you will be able to insert the basically empty data as well. So now I think this ID cannot be empty. Okay, so it has to basically contain some values. So this is the first condition, and the primary key cannot be duplicates. So it cannot be duplicates. Okay. Okay, so this is cannot be duplicates. That's the second thing, it cannot be duplicate. Okay, and then last thing, it has to be unique. Okay, these are the three conditions that a primary key basically kind of add a conditions in the column while creating the tables. So while creating a table, you can define one column as the primary key, which will basically distinguish all the columns. Primary key is a part of like additional conditions. You can just remember this way, that is basically kind of called as a constraint. Okay, now we can just go ahead and create this table. So I can just go ahead and say run. This will create this transactions table. Now we have 5 tables we have created. Okay, so let's see table 1 2 3 4 5. Total we have 5 tables. Okay, so now let's just go back to our table 1, which is this one, employee table, right? So in the employee table, we will try to insert some basically data, right? We'll see how it works. So I can just give some space here. Okay, so first we will see how to add a single record in a table. So now this is a table. Now how do we check what are the things we have in a table? So the syntax is very simple. You say select, and you say star, and you say from, and the table name, which is employees. Okay, if I just type it, and if I just give a parenthesis, and if I just type it and run it, it basically return a result. Now this is basically, this star means selecting all the columns and all the rows. So whatever you have inside the table, including the data types, you will see everything in the results that you are basically checking right now. So now this is how you select. If there is any records, you will see record will appear here. So star means basically selecting all the columns. Now what is the columns? Columns are like this: employee ID, name, department, salary, hiring date. So you know that in Excel, if I talk about Excel, you have like multiple columns, right? Columns like this way, column 1, A, B, C, D, and the row like 1 2 3 4, all these are row, right? So this is how it works. Now in SQL, this is the column, these are the columns that we defined earlier, like employee ID, name, department, salary, so that we can add some record to store the data, right? Now we will basically insert data into this employee table. Okay, so let me just add a comments here to basically make this more readable and remembering, so that we can remember whatever is going on below this, right? So you can say inserting data or records, you can say records into the employees table. Okay, now we can go ahead and say, so the syntax is very simple to insert a record in a table. Okay, so you say insert and then you say into, okay, into, and then you can basically give the table name in where basically you are inserting the data. So we're inserting the data into this employees table, correct? So I would say insert into employees table. Now I will just simply go back to the next line. Now what you are inserting, so I'm inserting values, I can say values. Okay, now this values is fine, this is the basic syntax. Now I can again go to the next line and I can basically in a brackets, in a parenthesis, I can basically select the information that I want to insert. So I want to insert the first employee records. Okay, let's just make a dummy records here. So I would say the employee ID I want to give as 101, and then I want to insert a name. So name, I would say that Priya. Okay, this is the name, and then I want to insert called department. So department would be IT. Okay, and then I want to insert something called salary, which would be, let's say, 55,000. Okay, 55,000, and then I want to insert hiring date. So hiring date would be like somewhere around 20, so let's say today 2024, and then let's say 3, and let's say 2020. Okay, so this is things, let's say this records we are going to insert in this employee table. Okay, let's see how we can do it, right? So now there is one thing that you will have to remember. Whenever the data type is int, okay, whenever the data type is number, basically int, float, or it could be decimal, so you can enter the number simply without giving a quotes. Now if you're entering any text data, like which is varchar or character, then you will have to enter that basically data inside a single quotes like this way. Similarly, when you will be entering any date and the data type is a date, then you will enter this data inside a quotes, otherwise you will be getting error. So let's just insert the first record. So would say we want to insert, so I'm saying I'm inserting the first record, that is the employee ID. So you need to follow the same hierarchy. First we have employee ID, so first I need to give employee ID, then comma. Now this is a data type which is number, so any number I can give. I'm just simply giving a number which is 101. This is the employee ID. Now I'm giving a comma to basically distinguish that whatever I'm going to enter, that is going to basically belongs to the second column, which is name. Now in name, I know this is a text data type which is varchar, so I cannot give simply like this way. Okay, I cannot give like this way Priya, so I need to basically enter this name inside a quotes. So I can just select this name and just press the quote sign in my keyboard, which is near to the enter sign, then, or I can just select the quotes, then enter the name inside the quotes. Okay, then I will give a comma. Now I am moving to the second basically columns. So in the second columns I need to give a department name, right? So again this is a text data type, so I would say quotes IT. So this is the department, and then we will say salary. So salary is going to be, let's say, 55,000. Now this is a decimal, so I don't have to basically enter in the kind of quotes. Then I would say date, so date is going to be 2024, then the month is going to be 3, and the day is going to be, let's say, 20. Okay, so this is the information. Now you can see the date I have entered it's in the quotes. Now the format SQL understand as a date, it has to be like this format, which is going to be last. First you enter the year, then you enter the month, then you enter the day. So this is the format to basically enter a dates in a SQL. So now this is fine. We can just go ahead and say close this by using a parenthesis, and I can just select this and just click on run, and it will basically see, you can say insert 0 and 1 records. So basically we have inserted 1 record successfully within this millisecond, right? Now I can just go ahead and verify it. If I just run this script again by just selecting it and just going to this play button, we have basically inserted 1 record. So let's just insert like 2 to 3 records. Let's say we want to insert 2 to 3 records in one go. How do you do it? So I will say that this time again insert into, and then I will say employee tables. Okay, now I will say again what I want to insert, that is going to values, right? I will go to next line, and now this time I would be entering some more details. So I would just copy this again. Okay, so I'm just making some new name. So now I cannot close it here because I'm adding multiple rows. So when you will be adding multiple rows, you just need to give a comma outside this bracket to distinguish that this is not the end, you are adding one more record. Now here also I would need to give a comma because I'm adding one more record, which is this one. Now this is the third record, then that's the reason I'm basically keeping basically parenthesis at the end. Now I can just change the name. So let's say 2, then I change it 3, then I change it 4. Okay, let's just say some name, Rahul. Okay, now let's say Rex. Now let's say Sam. So this text doesn't matter, you can give it in like capitals or small letter, that's on you. Okay, now salary I can say 65,000, and I can say 45,000, and I can say 85,000. Okay, and I can change the department as well also. I can say HR marketing. Okay, this is just some of the dummy information I'm entering. So now that's fine, we can go ahead and run it. It is going to insert the value. So yeah, let's just go ahead and run it first. Okay, so let's just say play button. Now you see 3 records inserted. That means we have basically now we have inserted 3 records. Okay, now if I just run this script again, select star from the employee, I can just click on this run button. You see that we have inserted like 3 records now. Earlier it was 1 record. Now we have total 4 records in our basically data. So this is how basically you insert multiple records in a table. Okay, so that is fine. Now see how we can insert a specific records in a table. Now we have basically selected all the columns. Right now here we did not define like which column we are adding the values. We have simply entered the table name. Now in SQL there is something you can add a specific values. Now let's say you only have the employee ID and employee name. You do not have the department yet. Basically maybe the department has not assigned. You have the hiring date, but you do not have the salary yet because maybe the employee has not, you have not defined what is the salary is going to be. Now you can still add records. Okay, so let's see how we can do it. So this time I'm saying adding records into specific columns of employees. Okay, so in the employees table we will be adding records into few of the specific columns. So how do we do it? Let's see. So it's a insert into, and then we will give the employees name, table name, which is employees. Now in a brackets you can also define the column name. So whatever the column you will be defining, you will be adding values for those columns. So let's say usually syntax is like this, right? You give values here, and next line you basically give whatever the record you want to add. Now while basically giving this employee table name, the table name, you can just give a parenthesis. Inside this parenthesis you can define in which column you want to add the records. So now let's say we want to add records for employee ID. So employee ID, this is the column name, and then I want to add record for name. Okay, now then I want a record for basically hire date. Okay, hire date, because I do not have the department and salary yet, so I will not give those a column at the moment. Let's see what happens. Okay, now let's say we want to add a record called 105. Okay, and then see now this time I don't have to select all these 5 things because I only have selected 3 columns where I will be adding records. So it's 105, and then I would say name is going to be Sarah, and then this is the name is fine. I'm following the same pattern now, this pattern. Then hiring date I want something called 2020 2023. Okay, 09, and I would say 25. Okay, so this is fine. I can just go ahead and run it by using the shortcut, or I can click this play button. Now you see one record is inserted, but you have noticed that I have not basically entered record for all the columns. So what will happen for those columns? Let's see. Now I can just go ahead and run this script by just clicking on the play button again. Now you see something is basically interesting, which is this one. So now we have added this record, which is by the employee ID of 105. The employee name is Zara, and now see we did not entered anything in the department column, right? Because we did not selected that. So something got inserted in the department column, which is called null. So this null is basically missing. So basically it doesn't contain anything. It's not even 0. So it basically missing. Okay, so this is how basically you see that if there is any null. So now these columns we entered nothing, so null get basically inserted. So basically in Excel, when we talk about in Excel, you will see basically blank. So these are the blanks, right? Or you can say missing values. That is it, how to basically insert records, okay, in the table. So that is fine. So now let's just go ahead and insert record for rest of the tables. Okay, so let's just add some more records now. Okay, so I have basically entered all the informations. Now again, you can basically download this file and you will be getting all this informations as it is. Let me show you. If you want to let's say insert all this tables and everything in your basically SQL script, how you can do it. Okay, let me just first save this. Okay, now you can import the whole file here. Okay, but that will not create the table. You need to run the script. That's where the table will be created. So to import the file, you can just click on this play icon that you see. Once you click on this play icon and select the file, wherever you have downloaded the file, you can just select it. Like for me, it is here. I can select it and the file will get imported as it is. Now I can basically run the query to create the table. Like this one I can run to create this employee table. Then I can run this one to check the total data. Okay, so what you can basically do is basically create the tables. Okay, once you create the table, then you can basically run this script to basically insert the data, but you can also manually insert few records so that you are basically SQL writing basically I would say experience get enhanced. Right now we have basically I have basically added all the informations like multiple rows, because if I enter it manually it will take like a lot of time. So now let's go ahead and add some more records. Before that, let's see how many records we have so far in the employee table. Right, so to see that, I will just write this script and I can just simply, now you can see I have like this many records, like I think total 5 records I have, right, which is fine. Now let's just go ahead and add some more records. So I would run this script and I would just click on run. You see I have added 5 more records. Now I can just verify it. I can just run it again, and now I will have like total see 10 records. Okay, that's perfect. So similarly, let's add the record for product table as well. Let's see. So these are the product table record. We have 5 records. I will just run it, select it and click on run. You see the product table is added. Now let's just verify it. Okay, now I can just verify it by saying select star from products. Okay, the table name. Now if I just run it, I'll have 5 records. That's perfect. So let's just go ahead and see. Let's just copy it now. Now let's add the records into the customers table. So the customers table we have created earlier, if you have remember. So I can say run. Now edit records into the customers table. Oh, there's some mistakes. Customers does not exist, so we need to create the table again. I might delete that. Okay, I'll just create it again. Now I can just run it again. Okay, now 5 records added into the customer table. Let's just verify it. I can just select everything. Instead of product, I can say customers. Okay, and I can run it by the shortcut. Now you see I have 5 records in the customers table. That's perfect. Now let's just go ahead and add the informations into orders table. So I have already added the informations. Now I can just click on run. All the records are added. Let's just verify it. So I can just go ahead and say select everything from orders this times. Okay, so now you see orders records are added. So this star means selecting all the columns, and from then you give the table name, like for whichever table you want to see all the records. Okay, now that's fine. So now let's see transactions table. In the transactions table we have created it earlier, if you remember. Now I can just go ahead and add this records. Okay, that's perfect. Records are added. Now I can just go ahead and verify it. Okay, select everything from transactions. Okay, now this is the table name. Transaction spelling I need to check. Oh, it's transaction, not S. So yeah, transactions table we have everything. So which is like transactions ID, amount, transactions date and payment method, right? So that's fine. So now we have added everything that is required, right? Now let's see how we can select a specific column. Let's say you don't want to see everything, you only want to see the customer's name from the customers table. So let's just go to the customers table. This is the customers table. You have something called customer ID, customer order ID, customer ID, product. Oh no, this is the order table. So in the customers table you have something called customer ID, customer name, email, phone number and city. Let's say you only want to see customer name and their kind of a phone number or the city. Okay, let's say you want to see customer name and email and city. Let's say, okay, how do we do it? So to select a specific column, we can just instead of saying star, we can just say select. Okay, and I can just go back to the next line and I can just give the column name that I want to select. So this time instead of selecting star, like selecting all the columns, I only want to select the specific column. So I need to give a specific column name, which column I want to select. So I want to select customer name, so I will say customer name here. Okay, and then I want to select one more column. So to select one more column, I need to basically give a comma. Now whatever you have here, okay, before this from, it is basically the column. Okay, now this is the column that is from this table that I'm basically selecting. Okay, I'm not selecting everything, I'm selecting a specific column. So how many columns you want, you can basically give a comma, basically select number of column that you want, basically their name. Okay, now I want customer name, I want the email ID. Okay, so I would say email ID, which is the email, the column name is email. Then I want the city. Okay, I want the city. So I only need these 3 columns. Okay, now I can run this query. It is going to return me only these 3 columns instead of returning all the columns. So that is how you kind of select specific column instead of like all the columns. Now you can select any columns, you can select customer ID and city also. So it's not like that they need to be basically together, they could be from anywhere. You just have to basically give a comma to distinguish like whatever the column you want to select. So now that is fine. Now let's just go ahead and solve some of the questions, right? So I have basically added some questions. So these are the questions that I have added. So now all these questions you need to resolve. I will just basically solve 2 questions from each category, and at the end, so there are 20 questions, 22 questions which you will be solving, and there are some tasks as well which you will do, so that your SQL skills get enhanced and you basically kind of see how things works. So there are more than I think 25 tasks that I have added. So first you can go through the whole video, I mean learn the topic, then only you will be able to solve this basically questions. Okay, so let's just see what is the first question says. So I can just copy these questions, okay, and I can just go somewhere around here. Okay, let's just go somewhere around here. Okay, I'll just give some space. Okay, let's I think find here. So I will just give some space line here, and I will just type a comment called business business problems. Okay, and answers. Okay, basically we're solving some business problems. Right now this is the table, there are a lot, total we have 5 tables. So in 5 table we have data. Now we will be solving some of the business problem. So let's see the question number 1. It says find the employee with the highest salary. Okay, now we need to find the employees with the highest salary. So let's just go ahead and see how we can do it. Okay, now to select everything from the employee, you just give everything from stars, and then you say from, and the table name which is employees, right? This is the table name. If I just run it, it basically gives me all the records that I have in the employees. Now there is something called highest salary. We only want to see one employee who has the highest salary. Now if you see manually, I think that's going to be this employee, which is 85,000, correct? Now there is a way you can select the highest salary. Okay, find the employee with the highest salary. So how we can do it, right? So we can say, first we can say that select everything. Okay, and there is something called where. Okay, now where functions will come into the pictures. Now where basically is specifying a specific conditions. Now see, if you're using Excel, how you will do it, right? You will basically first of all go to this column, and you will apply some filter, and from this salary column you may physically first order the data, right? Then you will select one the record which is the highest salary, correct? So I mean you will be sorting the data, then you will be selecting the one column, the first column, because the first column you will be sorting the data in descending. That's how you will be basically selecting, right? So we can follow the same things here. Instead of where, I can do it by order by. So let's just see how we can do it order by. So in order by SQL order by basically is the same thing that you sort in Excel, where you sort basically by selecting a column, and you basically go to the data and basically you sort the data. I'm sure you know how to sort the data in Excel, right? So now in SQL also you do the same. Instead of sort, we call it order by. This is the SQL syntax. That's the reason it is highlighted in basically red colors. Now I can sort the data by this salary column. Now what this sort means, okay, let's see. Now see, to sort the data I need to select a specific column. I can sort this data by this name. So alphabet A will come on the top, now then B, then C, basically that way. Again I can sort it by the employee ID, but I want to sort by the salary because I want to see the highest salary on the top. So that's what we call, so we say order by. Now we will be giving the column name, by which column you want to sort the data. I want to say salary, okay, salary, and now I can say salary. Now see, after the salary, okay, you will be doing order by the salary. Now what sorting you're doing? So there are two types of sorting. One is called ascending, one is called descending. Now let's see descending. Okay, now descending is basically the highest salary will come on the top, the first row, then the second highest and third highest accordingly. Okay, so you can say descending. If we just say descending, you will see the although we are getting something called null. Okay, let's just ignore it for now. So now the highest salary, which is going to be which one? Which is going to be this 85,000, correct? This 85,000 is the highest salary that we have. Now we can say one thing. Okay, we can say for first, now let's just ignore this null. Let's just say that we don't have this null. Now we can say that this highest salary, what highest salary is 85,000, correct? Now we can say, instead of this order by, now we know that what is the highest salary, which is 85,000. So we can say instead of order by, we can say that here something called where, and I can say salary equals to 85,000. now this is a number, that's the reason I'm not entering inside at quotes. Now I can just close the query here. Now what I'm saying, select everything from this table where the salary is 85,000. Now we know that there is only one employee whose salary is 85,000. That's how we can get the highest basically salary employee details. Now I can just run it. You see I have the employee name, Sam, marketing, 85,000, and the hiring date. So this is how basically we have solved one problem, and you have also learned the topic called where. Now you can use this where in any basically column. You can say let's just give some more example. Let's just say the tables. Okay, now you can say that where department is IT. Now let's say you want to see all the employee who are from IT. Okay, who are from IT, from, okay, who are from IT. So you want to see all the employee who are from IT. Okay, so you can say like the same thing. Now I can say select everything from employee. Now instead of where, I can say where salary, I can say that where and this department column. So this time I'm doing a filter by the department. Okay, department equals to IT. Now this time I will define this IT inside a double quotes because this is a text. Okay, let's just say delete it for now. Let's just ignore it for now. Now I can just go ahead and run it. I have all the employees who are from IT department. You see, right? These two employees are from IT department. So this is how this where condition is really useful. You can apply this filter in any columns and with any things, right? You can say that where the salary is above 60,000. You can also say filter like this. Let's say I want to see all the employee whose salary is greater than 60,000. Okay, I can say that. So I can use the where functions here, where, and I can say salary because at then I'm applying filter for the salary, and I can say greater. So these are the signs that are used in SQL. So greater than, equals, and then less than, and then you can just combine them as well. Greater than, equal, less than, equal. Okay, so I can say I need the all the employee where salary is greater than 60,000. So I can say 60,000, and I can close this and I can run this query. I will have all the employee who has the salary above 60,000. Now let's say if there is any employee who has salary which is less than 50,000. Okay, let's just see how do we find it. Now you can just say select less than, and I can just say 50,000. So you can kind of mix these functions and kind of work on it. I can say less than equals to 50,000. Okay, that means it is also going to include the employee which is 50,000, like this one, right? So this is how you will be basically kind of solving problem. So now you have learned what is where functions and how it is used. Now as I have informed you, this where function you can use in any column. Now let's see what is the second questions we have. So we will solve the second question as well. List the employee hired after January 1, 2021. Okay, so this is one of the interesting questions, I would say. So let's see questions number. Now you know that to add this comment you just press oblique and control and oblique. Now you just type question number 2. So let's first see the table. In the table we have employee ID, employee name, department, salary, and hiring date. Okay, now it says list the employee hired after 4th January 2021. So basically we need to see all the employee who are hired after this date, which is 2021 January 1. Okay, now you know that you can basically apply filter in this column hiring date, and you will be getting all the employees like the one I have shown you earlier. So let's see how we can apply filter in the date column. So that's going to be really useful. So you say where, again where, and then this time you say hire date instead of the column name, which is hire date. Okay, now hire date, what it means, it says after this date, right? That means we need to use that's it's a greater than. Okay, greater than this date. Yeah, that's how you identify, right? If I say less than, that means it is before that date. Okay, now I say greater than this date, that means after this date. Now date is entered in this syntax, like inside a quotes, first you enter year, then you enter month, then you enter the date. So I would say again the same thing, 2021 dash, and then I would say month, which is going to be what, January, and the day is going to be 1. So date is always entered in this format, even if you are inserting the data you are using in the where conditions. Okay, now you can understand this greater than sign means if any employee hired after this date, which is greater than this date, the hiring date would be greater than this date, right? Now I can just go ahead and run it. It will give us the result. So these are the employee who was hired after this 2021 January. You can see this employee was hired when it was hired on 28th of March 2024, 2024, 2023, all these things. Now this is the employee who was hired in 2021, but it is a February. So this is how you kind of basically write SQL query and solve kind of problems. So just I need to think logically. Now we have used a simple function which is where to filter the data. So just think that if you have the data in Excel, how you will basically do it. You will basically go to this salary hiring date column, and you will do some filter, and then you will basically, that's how you will select only one employee, or the employee who has basically hiring date which is greater than this date, right? So this is how you solve this problem. Now these 3 things that you will be solving by yourself. Okay, now let's just go to the next questions. Now let's see. in the product query. Let's see what are the questions we have. Find the total value of the product in the stock in each category. So let's see the question number 8. We'll be solving question number 8, which says calculate the total number of product we have in our basically product tables. So let's write down the questions here somewhere around here, okay? And let's say I want to make it comment. So the question is that calculate the total number of product we have in the product table, okay? In products table, correct? So let's see whatever the things we have in the products table. Now you know how to select everything. So I can just select everything from products. That's how I get basically everything that I have in the products table. Now I want to count how many products I have in this product table. Now to count what you use in Excel, right? You can say that you count the row number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is how you use. So there is a function called count. In Excel, if you have used, there is some function called count. If you just use this count functions, this return basically how many records you have is basically count the rows like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in SQL also we have the same something called same functions that will basically count this total number of product that I have. So I can use count functions here, count, and then I can say I can select a column, or I can say select star. So I can say column like product ID, okay. Now I can just run it. It's going to basically count all the rows that I have in the product table. Now see, it's showing that 5. That means we have 5 rows in the product. That means we have 5 product, correct? Now I can give some alias. Let me just move it to the next name. Okay. Just make it organized. Okay. Now see, it is simply counting the product ID. Now see, this is saying count begin, something like this. Now this return, this result that you are getting, you can use a meaningful name to showcase this result, the count. So we call it as an alias. Okay. Now you can say as, and you can give any name. Let's say I would say the total products, okay. This is just a name I'm giving. I don't have to define in the codes. This is going to be name for this column, okay, for this result only. It's not going to change the name in the table. Now I can just run it. Okay, now you see it's saying nice name which says total product. So basically for this result I'm just giving an alias like this name, just to showcase this result in more, I would say, meaningful way. So this is how I find out total number of products I have in the product table using count functions. So the function that you will be using in SQL and to solving the below problems are like sum. Okay, sum is basically going to basically sum all the numbers, and then you will be using count. Okay, then there is something called max, and there is something called min. So sum is going to sum all the products, count is going to basically count all the rows, max is going to select the maximum salary or amount, you can see. Minimum is going to select the minimum amount. Okay, so these are the functions you can use before a column name by using a bracket like this way. So that is fine. Let's see the next questions. So it says update the salary of employee with the employee ID 3 and 262,000. So this is where we will learn update functions. Okay, let's see. So employee ID 3, we need to update the salary. Let's say for the employee ID 3, he got a promotion, or he or she, we need to update the salary to 62,000. Let's see whatever we have in the employee table. So we just select everything from employees. Now I can just go ahead and run it. This return me everything I have in the employees table. Now I need to update the employee ID who is 3. So let's see, employee ID 3, that's going to be Michael, right? Michael Lee. Now he's from marketing department. Salary, current salary is 60,000, but we want to change it to 62,000. So this is where the update functions comes into the picture. So let's see how update functions works. Okay, so to update, you just simply type update, okay, and then you type the table name, like in which table you want to update, because we want to update the employees table. Okay, so employee table. Now update goes with something called set. This is the syntax, and this is called where. So these things are mandatory. I mean, where is not mandatory, but these things are mandatory, and where is also mandatory most of the time, otherwise it is going to update everything. So now this set, you can define a column name, and you can say whatever you want to update based on this where conditions. So let's understand how it works. So I'm saying update this employee table. Okay, now I'm saying set. So what column I want to change? I want to change the column which is 62,000, which is salary column, right? So I can say column name here, which is salary, and I can say what I want to change to. I want to change to basically 62,000. Okay, I can say 62,000. I want to change it to 62,000. Now this is like a number I'm not defining in a quotes. Now if I just run it till here, it is going to update for all the employee, because we're not setting any conditions like updating 62,000 for what, for which employee, or for which name, or for which department. Now this is where the where functions come. So whenever you're updating, make sure don't forget to use this where function, otherwise it is going to update everything like that you have in the table. It could be million, billion, you know. So we would say update where, and then we will say this id, employee id, this id is 3, right? Now how do we select one employee? So you can say select, and we can say employee dash id equals 3. Now if I just run it, it's going to update the salary from 60,000 to 2,000. So if you are like having some difficulty in understanding how it is working, let's just see. Okay, let's just see. If I just run it, select everything, and I can say from where the employee id is 3, what you get in return. Let's see. See, I'm saying select everything, like select whatever I have in the table, but I'm saying a condition where employee ID is 3, that is only 1. So this query will return what? This query will return only one employee, which is Michael. So this where condition is doing the same thing. It's saying update the salary of this employee table, the salary of employee table, by doing this set, and then we are saying where employee ID is 3. That means only for this one employee. Okay, now I can just go ahead and run it. This is done. Now let's just verify it. Okay, now see the 3 employee that belongs to Michael Lee. Now see it is showing 62,000. So this is how update function works. Now you can update for multiple columns. Now you can update for, let's say now you want to change the employee ID salary to 65,000, and as well you want to change the department, right? You want to change the department to, let's say, something else. Okay, now you can do that as well. Let's do one thing. Let's do it for Zara. So for Zara, like salary is null. Let's say now we want to add a department, let's say IT, and the salary we want to add as a 55,000. Okay, so now how we can do it for 2 columns? Let's see. So we can say updating salary to 55,000 and department to IT. Okay, IT for what? For, let's say, Zara. This time we are not giving the employee ID, we will update by the name this time. Okay, let's see how it works. So we will say the same thing is going to update. Now I write down the syntax first, set, and then I write down the where, so that I don't forget it. Okay, so this is, if you follow this pattern, trust me, you will never forget the syntax. Okay, and you will never do any mistakes. So I would say update. What I'm updating the employees table. That's fine. Now what are the things I'm updating? I'm updating, first I'm updating the department. So I would say column name, which is department. Okay, department equals to what I'm updating in the department? IT. Now this is a text data, so I'll need to put inside this quotes. So this is fine. I want to update one more column, right? So in one go you can update multiple columns as well by just giving a comma. Now I need to give the column name again. This time I'm updating salary, and I am updating the salary to 55,000. Okay, this is fine. Now 55,000. Okay, that's going to be 55,000. If I run till here, it's going to update all the employee to IT and the salary to 55,000. So that's the reason I basically write down the whole syntax first, so that I don't forget it. Now where I can use by the employee ID, by employee ID saying employee ID is 105, or I can use name as well also, or I can use anything. So this time I will be using by the name. I will show you how to basically update it by the name. So let's say update, and I would say name equals to Zara. Now this is a text data I need to define inside this quotes. Now if I run it, it's going to basically update the department from null to basically IT and the salary to 55,000. So before running it, let me just show it again. Let's say select everything this time. This time I want to see what does it return if I say select everything where name is Zara. Okay, let's just see what it is returning. Now see, it is returning one employee, correct? So that means we're saying select everything from employee and where the name is Zara. We know that Zara belongs to only one name, so it's returning one. Now that means this query is going to work. So let's see. Now if I just run this one, okay. Now see, this is updating one record. So why it is showing one? Because see, at the end it is updating one rows. There could be multiple columns, but it is one rows. So let's just verify it now. Now if you just run it, you will see null value will be gone. Now see, the department has updated to IT and the salary is updated to 55,000. We can also check like by just running this query. Now you can see everything is updated. Now there is no null. So this is how you also deal with null values as well, null and missing values, and in the real time you will be getting a lot of null values. So you can basically check this way, using a where functions, and you can update this way to solve that. Okay, so let's just solve one problem, that is going to be a delete statement. Let's see how delete statement works. Okay, that's going to be our last topic for today. Then you will be solving all these questions, and if you get any doubt with any questions, so then you can basically let me know in the comments. Okay, Now let's see these questions. We will solve these questions. It says delete product with a price less than $50. Okay, now let's see how we can solve these questions. Now I will say comment. Now see, the question is that delete products with the price less than $50. Let's see if you have any products with less than $50. Okay, select everything from products. I can run it. See, I have all this product. I think one product I have, which is this one t-shirt, that is $20, correct? Now it says delete product with the price less than 50. Okay, that means this product will be deleted if I basically, this is my task, right? Now delete again, delete and update are similar syntax. Okay, there's a little bit basically, change in the syntax. So let's see how delete works. So delete syntax goes like this way: delete, then you type from, and then you type table name here, and then you say where. Simple. So delete statement is only 2 lines. Okay, now ensure that you are not forgetting this where functions, otherwise it is going to delete everything from the table. Okay, only the table structure will left out. Now you say table name, which is going to be products, right? And in the where you say the conditions, what is the conditions? So the condition is that price less than 50. If the price is less than 50, then only I want to delete the records, correct? So I can say price which is less than, this is the less than sign, right? And this is the 50. Now again, this is a number I'm not defining inside a quotes, and I'm saying where price is less than 50. Now if I just run it, you will see one record deleted one. That means one record is deleted. Now I can just run it, it will show nothing because there is no price less than 50 now left. So I can just run it again. Now see, we only left with 4 products. So product that the price was less than 50, it is deleted. So this is how the delete syntax work. Even apply the delete syntax in any column, like you can say delete everything where the category is electronics, so everything will be deleted from the electronics. Or you can say delete everything where the category is clothing, everything will be deleted from the clothing. Or you can say delete everything where the quantity is less than 100, so everything will be deleted if the quantity is less than 100. So this is how the delete syntax works. Now these are the questions which you will be solving. Okay, now there are a lot of questions, I know that, but these are the tasks, and trust me, if you can solve all those questions and all this problem, trust me, you are going to be like pro with the basics of SQL. And I will see you in the next video, which is going to be updated in the next hopefully next weekend. So you need to solve all these questions, and once you are done, you can basically share your answer in the comments. And if you're getting any issues with any of the questions, so leave a comment, I will check them and help you to basically solve these questions. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end and bearing with me. So I will be coming up with the next video next week. So do subscribe my channel if you are new to here, and if you are learning something, and if you are liking my content, support me. Join me in the Instagram as well. We have more than 28,000 followers in Instagram. So I do share job posting and the opportunity and the challenges in Instagram as well. So yeah, stay in touch. Let's help each other and grow together. That's it for this video. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Take care.